he called up his younger brother, Mike, who had been dog sitting for him. He said, "Hey, Mike, how's Rusty doing?" Mike said, "Rusty's dead." Jim said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. Couldn't you put it some other way?" Mike said, "How else would I put it?" He said, "Well, like, remember how Rusty used to love chasing cars? He's doing that in heaven now." "Okay, fine. Well, how's Dad doing? How was the operation?" "Well, you remember how Dad used to love chasing cars?" I know, I didn't have one. And then I thought, that one, I'm going to see if I can make that one work today. Because our topic today is going to be fatherhood. Because Father's Day is coming up at some point. I know, it's the holiday that nobody ever remembers because you don't hear about it until that day. And then it's like, oh, how fast can I come up with like a necktie or something, whatever. So I'm letting you know now, we're going to be talking about that today. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Niagara Falls. For those who are here for the first time, my name is John Snodgrass. I am a teacher at Canisius College and a father of 4. Welcome to this place which we make holy by our presence. In here you can bring your brokenness and your personal glow, your early morning aches and your energy, your vulnerabilities and strengths, hopes and fears and anxieties, for here you need not hide nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, where the human is celebrated, where compassion is strength. Welcome to this place. Together, we make it a holy place. Please stand if you're able for our first hymn. The hymn number is printed in your leaflet.
To rejoice and come in, and to rejoice and come in. Today will be our joyful day, and to rejoice and come in. Open your ears to the song, open your ears to the song. Today will be our joyful day, and to rejoice and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be our joyful day, and to rejoice and come in.
Our responsive reading today will be number 465 in the back of the hymnal, number 465. Number 465. I'll read the sections in standard type, and please join me for the sections in italics. If we have the wisdom to survive, to stand like slow-growing trees on a ruined place, renewing it, enriching it, if we have our seasons welcome here, asking not too much of earth or heaven, and for a long time after we are dead, the lives our lives prepare will live here. Their houses strongly placed upon the valley sides, fields and gardens, rich in the windows, the river will run clear as we will never know it. And over it, bird song like a canopy. On the levels of the hills will be green meadows, stock bells in noon shade. On the steeps where greed and ignorance cut down the old forest, an old forest will stand, its rich leaf fall drifting on its roots. The veins of forgotten springs will have opened. Families will be singing in the fields. In their voices, they will hear a music risen out of the ground. They will take nothing from the ground that they will not return, whatever the grief at parting. Memory, native to this valley, will spread over it like a grove, and memory will grow into legend, legend into song, song into sacrament. The abundance of this place, the songs of its people and its birds, will be health and wisdom and indwelling light. This is no paradisal dream. Its hardship is its possibility.
John?
Yes.
We forgot to light the chalice.
Okay. We can do that. Please join me for the words of the chalice lighting. They're printed inside of your leaflet. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of freedom. Peter, would you like to lead us in offering joys and concerns?
We have some collective joys and sorrows every morning, but we also have individual ones that belong to us and us alone. And this is a time when we share those individual joys and sorrows that we have and make them part of the collective. So take a moment of silence and think in your mind whether there is something that you think you'd like to share with the rest of the gathered people here this morning. And now I'll ask anyone who has considered one that they'd like to share with us, come forward and let us all know about it. Please use a microphone, that way it can go out to the Zoom people. And stand in this approximate position so that they can see you too, from the camera.
Yeah, okay. It's a concern that I'm bringing back up. I had mentioned that my niece's son in Florida, Austin, had ran away a while ago, and they have not been able to find him, not even a trace of him so far. It's been quite a while. I think it's been a month maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I told you guys about this. His name's Austin, and his mom's name is Melissa. She's my niece. And we're just hoping, praying that we'll find him. But so far, the police are doing everything they can. One of the police officers is from another state who's related to my niece. And that's all I've got to say. I'm just very concerned about it.
Anyone else have a joy or a sorrow or a concern that you'd like to share?
We have somebody on Zoom.
Okay.
Go ahead, Francie.
Oh, okay. Hi, thank you. My daughter's Dr. Sabrina Mayhew turned 53 today. She lives in Michigan, and I can still remember when she lit the chalice candle at the Unitarian Church in Niagara Falls when she was little. Reverend Ian Evison was the minister at that time. Brings back wonderful memories. Thank you.
I'm lighting a candle for her.
Thank you.
We all had, many of us had a joy yesterday of the performance of 4 Shillings Short at the church. It was just delightful, and they're coming back. They said they will come back here in 2026, so we'll be able to see them again. I have another, it was a scary, I guess a scary joy. My daughter, my grandson's wife was due to have a baby in July. She had emergency surgery for her gallbladder, and they nicked her uterus, and she had to deliver her baby by cesarean. But he's 2 pounds and growing, and he's doing fine. And this one's for 4 shillings.
Anyone else this morning? I'll light one last joy for any unspoken ones that people have not decided to share with us. An offering will now be collected while Patty plays an offertory for us.
Paul, that I got to go downstairs and cry for your son.
I'm going to take a moment of silence, concern for Patty. All right. I recently celebrated my 49th kid birthday, which is odd because I'm only 44 years old, and I didn't start parenting until I was 27. But last month, as I carried a birthday cake with glowing candles in the dark, because, you know, it doesn't count as blowing out the candles unless my kids have turned out all the lights in the house, and I get to carry this cake topped with flames into the dining room, and never mind that everybody's left their shoes scattered on the floor. Anyway, so I'm actually very grateful to have eyebrows this morning. Anyway, as I laid the cake on the table, I had this moment of deja vu. So after the candles got blown out and we sang, I added it up for my 4 kids. And I've now done birthday cakes for 49 birthdays, not counting repeats. Like there's the actual birthday, and then another cake for the birthday party, or multiple birthday parties, like one for the household, another one when Elizabeth's mom shows up with her dogs, another one when the friends come over. It was probably like my 150th kid birthday cake that I've made. For Malcolm's birthday, he invited a bunch of other 10-year-olds over and announced that he wanted to roast marshmallows in February. So I dug through the basement for scrap wood, built a little fire in the charcoal grill in the backyard, and we did it. 10-year-olds running around with sharp sticks. Scary. And when the sticks are on fire at one end, it's even scarier. But when the burning sticks are also tipped with marshmallow slime, which will never come out of your clothes or your hair, it's terrifying. You lose track of worrying whether someone's going to get their eye put out because you're so scared that they'll smear marshmallow gook on their new winter coat. That was my 49th kid birthday. And when I think about how long I've been parenting, this makes sense. I became a dad 17 years ago, but I definitely feel like I've been fathering for 49 years. 50 is just around the corner. But not till September, William's birthday, which he shares with Caesar Augustus and Springsteen. The kids were talking at the dinner table last week. When's the next birthday? September. And Elizabeth said, actually, your dad's birthday is in May. And the children blinked at each other in confusion, till finally little William asked, do we celebrate Dad's birthday? No one had any recollection of ever having celebrated it, and neither did I. But I said, you're certainly welcome to. That sounds great. I sometimes think about guys who abandon their kids and how different their lives must be. But I assume that their birthdays are the same. You make your own birthday cake, but with a different recipe. 1 ounce of whiskey. You can add fire and turn it into a candle, but why bother? My dad did not abandon his kids, and his birthday is sometime in January. I'm not entirely sure when. I remember he was born either 7 days before or 7 days after David Bowie. I think it's after. He calls me on his birthday, and when I see his name on the phone screen, and I know it's early January, I try not to pick up, so that I can call him a few minutes later and say, happy birthday. I grew up with the ideal father. Like, if I wrote a dictionary, the word father would have a picture of my dad. And all of the best fathering that I do is actually an impersonation of him. It's not a perfect impersonation. And sometimes I worry about my kids because I feel like they're getting a faulty knockoff, like the store brand equivalent of the famous cornflakes, which is sort of just as good, but doesn't crunch quite right. I try to adjust the recipe, it comes out wrong. Like we have a long Snodgrass family tradition of fathers being disappointed in their sons and their life choices. So I'm really careful to affirm my kids and their goals. But then I worry that I'm depriving them of a chance to build character. Build character is father speak for shut your mouth, grit your teeth, roll up your sleeves, and grimly grind away at some hopeless task. Building character prepares you for parenthood, like playing chauffeur for your kids and their friends, which isn't so bad except that their friends keep changing their names. Like Connor says, Phoenix needs a ride, and I say, where does they live? Since I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. We used to live in the South. We left so that our children could learn how to speak correctly. But now I have to ask questions like, where does they live? You know where Phoenix lives, the corner of such and such. So Phoenix lives with B, who used to be called Quinn? No, they is B, or they was B, but now they is Phoenix. But we're still talking about one person, right? Like I drive to Quinn's house and someone gets in the car and we're happy. 2 Octobers ago, I got to do all of the driving for Connor's birthday party because Elizabeth broke her foot. And I still have PTSD from it. She recovered. I'm still shell-shocked. Elizabeth broke her foot. Actually, that's not what happened. Elizabeth's father passed away. His name was Ian. He died in Florida. And then later that day, the state got torn apart by a hurricane called Ian. Elizabeth was not surprised, since her childhood home life had also been wrecked by a human hurricane called Ian. Anyway, his death did not plunge her into any gloomy depression or midlife crisis. She just walked it off. But the universe refused to let her walk it off, so it dropped a barbell off the treadmill onto her foot, forcing her to stay home for 2 weeks and take stock of her life. Of course, there's a logical, scientific explanation, which is that a butterfly caught in the vortex of Hurricane Ian flapped its wing, blowing the dumbbell off a treadmill in Buffalo, or that I'm a dumbbell for leaving my hand weight there. Whatever, we don't need to point fingers. Anyway, Elizabeth broke her foot, so she couldn't drive. So I did all of the kid driving, And when I know that I'll be in the car for an hour and a half, that technically qualifies as a road trip. And on road trips, I listen to musicals, like The Phantom of the Opera, Les Miserables, The Secret Garden, Into the Woods, where the parents and their kids keep disappointing each other, and I get tearful behind the wheel. So I'm driving around picking the kids up for Connor's birthday party. Why is this party van full of tragic opera? Don't you get to pick the music? No. And is your dad crying while he's driving? Yes. So it was a heavy emotional time for me, driving and crying, bleary-eyed, hoping not to get pulled over for DUI, D-U-I-O, driving under the influence of heart-wrenching opera. Elizabeth's father was a Jamaican immigrant, a science teacher and taxi cab driver who left his daughters when they were young. And his death, which somehow caused the hurricane that knocked the barbell off the treadmill, breaking Elizabeth's foot, which makes perfect mythopoetic sense because she and I are in this three-legged race called parenthood. Anyway, the hurricane of his last breath turned me into a taxi driver for my children, as if his ghost felt bad for abandoning his daughters and decided to make up for it by forcing me to do some extra fathering and driving for my daughter, his granddaughter. Elizabeth's father was problematic. Not unspeakably problematic, but problematic. And I live in his shadow. Like I should be in a special kind of therapy to deal with living in the aftermath of someone else's father's mistakes. I should have 3 therapists, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. One for talking about my father, one for talking about my wife's father, whose ghost lived with us even when he was still alive, and one's to talk about my own fatherhood experiences, except that with all of these appointments, I would never be home to see my own children. If you've been married, you might have a parallel relationship with the parents of your spouse, or even the ghosts of the parents of your spouse. I never met Elizabeth's father until the wedding, and he did not give her away. But now I realize that he should have come up before the priest and given himself. Like he and I should have had a special part of the ceremony where his mistakes become my problem. And I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make up for them. As I recall, it was Sigmund Freud who proposed that our theologies, our individual ideas of who the biblical God is, what God wants, and how God feels about us, that our individual theologies come from our impressions of our fathers. Whether they were near and loving, cold and distant. Some of our fathers were unconditionally patient and forgiving. Others were unpredictable and angry. My ideas about God were largely shaped by my father, who happens to be an Episcopal priest. And in my childhood, he was a priest in the ghetto of Newark. So I still think of God as overworked, underappreciated, gloomy, and disappointed. A bit uptight, but also kind of fun. If it was Sigmund Freud who said that we make the biblical God in the image of our fathers, he was certainly right in a Freudian sort of way, in that a child's father is this inexplicable, mysterious, muscular being who appears out of nowhere between a child and its mother and must be appeased somehow so that he'll get out of the way. Hey, man, could you please just take a picture or do whatever you need to do and give me back to the person who made me? William asked me today, what was my first feeling? I said, I don't know, hunger. I was the second person to hold him after he was born on our couch. And his first impression of me was, no food comes out of this one. So while I had my big moment of holding a newborn baby, he just wanted to be handed back to the fertility goddess. He must have thought I was some kind of idiotic acolyte or altar boy. My children do not think I'm God, except for Malcolm, who, when I'm driving him to the playground, asks me, are there going to be any other 10-year-olds there? I don't want to go if there are no 10-year-olds. And I ask him, am I God who created the heavens and the earth, who determined at the dawn of time that a child should be born precisely 10 years ago today, and that their parents should bring them to the playground in answer to your prayer? Then he gets sullen. And we get there and find out, no, I am not God. I can no more control other kids' parents than I control the weather or the tides of the ocean or women. Not that God can control women, but at least he's got a more realistic shot than the rest of us. We may envision the biblical God like our fathers, but Freud also tells us that our first religious impulse, the oceanic feeling, the sense of oneness with the universe, that the first religious impulse is what he calls the oceanic feeling. A sense of oneness with the universe that we first experience when being held by our mothers. And that could be a biological mother or whoever played the maternal role in our infancy. We know from the earliest carvings and sculptures that humanity's quest for the divine began with the search for oneness with a great earth mother goddess. The patriarchal gods appeared just a few thousand years ago, muscular and mysterious, insecure and volatile, demanding to be worshipped and fed and given alcohol. Most gods are alcoholics. I mean, if you don't believe me, just open the Bible. I mean, it says in the temple prayer instructions, God must be brought wine every single day. The patriarchal gods are jealous. Jealous of who? Jealous of our mothers, who don't have to explain why we need them. They threaten to wipe that smile off our faces. But really, we're afraid that they'll take us away from our mother, the earth. Well, it's not my job to be God for my kids. It's my job to teach them that the world contains some danger, some unpredictable elements, that nothing lasts forever. Things are always changing. Life is full of magic and loss. If you play with fire, you might get burned. And one way that I can teach them that is by lighting candles on a birthday cake. Thank you. Our closing hymn is number 131, Love Will Guide Us.
Love will guide us, peace has trod us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road
So last week was our big pledge drive event, and I think everybody had a really nice time. I just want to give you an update. We are within $57 of last year's total, and we still have a few items still to come in. So we're doing pretty well. So I just wanted to give you that update.
I don't know if any of you remember that I said that PBS was doing an American Experience on Love Canal, and they announced that it's going to be April 22nd at 9 p.m. They're going to show the episode on Love Canal.
I'm excited to announce that in about a half hour, after some coffee and conversation, I'll be teaching an adult education session about the Talmud and about the beginning of rabbinic Judaism. So I think this will be really fascinating to look at how this developed, and there is such a shocking nastiness going on right now. I mean, multiple species of shocking nastiness. There is some absolute shocking nastiness going on in Israel. And that's terrible. And there is some nastiness going on here in the United States, in which, see if you can envision this, Jewish Americans are being blamed and held accountable for things that are happening in another country that they have no control over. And like Jewish children are being beat up in school and told that it's their responsibility to tell the Israeli government and the Israeli military what to do. And that is absolutely shocking. And that is absolutely shameful. So this is a scary situation, and it's a scary time. Now, I read yesterday in an article that there was that the president of a college contacted some Jewish students and said, "You might not want to show up for classes right now because we can't protect you." And I thought, well, what are we doing then? What are we here for? If colleges are telling college students that the college will not stand up for them because it looks bad for the college to stand up for some like Jewish kid who's getting beat up on the quad in plain sight. That's a nightmare. That is an absolute nightmare. So we're in this scary time. This is scary for so many people for so many different reasons, and I have such a powerful sympathy for everybody involved in a situation who is getting hurt and who is being held accountable for things that they have absolutely no control over, and for things that, anyway. But meanwhile, with all of that aside, we're Unitarian Universalists, and it is part of who we are to be open-minded and curious about different faith traditions, And so, regardless of what's happening on the other side of the planet, I'm still a religion teacher. Judaism, to me, is still the same religion that it was last year. And so we're going to be exploring that a little bit. How did modern Judaism get started? What were some of the factors a couple of thousand years ago? And why does it work the way it does? Something that I find to be really fascinating. Judaism of religions. Every religion, of course, has its endearing quirkiness. Every religion has its deeply felt, honest, adoration, and its endearing quirkiness. But Judaism, I think, of the world religions, is the world that is most defined and most famous for its endearing quirkiness. And so we're going to be looking. One of the things we're going to look at is that. How does that differentness or that endearing quirkiness, how does that connect with an actual, very, very deeply felt relationship with God? So I'm not saying this to guilt you into showing up. It's all right. But I'm saying this now because there's a bunch of us here. I feel like it needs to be said. I feel like anyway. I feel like everybody who's thinking about this situation in Israel, Palestine, just needs to remember there is a religion called Judaism, and there is a country called Israel. And they are not the same thing. All right, so I'm excited. I'm going to be teaching a little bit about the Talmud. I think it's going to be really fascinating. I'm not going to, lecture you like this. I'm going to lecture you in a more interesting way. Okay, good. Together we have sanctified this space. If you have found strength and comfort here, share some out there. Remember that you are blessed and you are a blessing and you are not alone. Please join me for the words of the chalice extinguishing. They are printed inside of your leaflet. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
So sorry for my outburst, but I have so many friends on my reserve that are still looking for children. So whenever I hear a missing child thing, it just hits me. So Friday night I get this call because I was singing in Canada at a wedding. And she says to me, "Do you think you could do this song tomorrow?" Well, I did do it. It wasn't quite the way I thought it should go. However, I'm going to do this first. In sleep he sang to me, in dreams he came, and that's not what I'm going to do. Wish me luck here. All smiles, I know what takes to fool this town. I'll do it till the sun goes down and through the nighttime. Oh yeah, I'll tell you what you want to hear. Leave my sunglasses on while I shed a tear. It's never the right time, yeah. I put my arm around, show you unstoppable. I'm a Porsche with no brakes. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single game. I'm so powerful. I don't need batteries to play. I'm so confident. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today. I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. I'm unstoppable today. I put my armor on, show you how strong I am. I put my armor on, I'll show you that I am. I'm unstoppable. I'm a Porsche with no brakes. I'm invincible. Yeah, every single game. I'm so powerful. I don't need batteries to play. I'm so confident. I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Oh, good, I did it and I didn't cry. Paul, I've put your nephew on copious prayer lists.